Part 2. A big pro is that you're big on the road. A con is also that you're big on the road. But when somebody parks like this and you can't get around a corner, it's definitely a con. But no, on a serious note, I shouldn't make this, just concentrate here. On a serious note, so pros and cons. There is a big pro to being a lorry driver, and that is climate control, right? And I'm not talking about green space and all that sort of stuff. I'm talking about climate control, as in inside your cab you can control the temperature, which I found out today is the most desirable. It's about 32 degrees outside. When you have to get out and actually do some work, unload, it is absolutely horrific. But luckily, you don't have to stand out there for too long. Now, a lot of jobs out there, you're either stuck in an office all day, where you've probably got air conditioning, which is fine, or you're out on a building site because you like to be an outdoorsy person, and you could be your hands or whatnot, and you are absolutely dying from the heat. The good thing about being a HGV driver is you kind of get the best of both worlds. So, oh god, parked on W lines there. That's idiot. So yeah, you get the best of both worlds. When it rains, the good news is you're inside, you've got a heater. Depending on what type of work you do, you don't really have to go out that much and get wet. The job that I'm doing now on tankers, you do have to stand outside for at least half an hour, 40 minutes. I'm guessing that's not going to be too fun in the winter. But there's a lot of HGV driving jobs out there, especially if you're a trunker or whatever. You literally get outside of your cab, you walk into a building, open the back doors, either the store will unload you, help unload yourself. It all varies. Indicating now. So yeah, that's definitely a nice little pro and con of being a HGV driver. You get the office, being inside the cab, and then you get the outside as well. So if you're someone like me that doesn't like being stuck in the same place day after day, same old office, same people, and it's definitely a positive in that aspect. Also, if you're someone that doesn't like being out in the blistering heat, cooking, or constantly outside in the snow, for example, my cousin, he is a tree surgeon, and unless it's overcast, like 18, between sort of 15 and 20 degrees, it's pretty horrific work. Come on, is anyone going to indicate on this roundabout? So yeah, each to their own, but that's not a bit of me. Being outside in this heat all day, I can think of anything worse. I am a bit ginger, so I do tend to burn quite easily. The sun is not for the faint-hearted. Hearted. Jesus. Anyway, so that's a pro and con now. So another con in this industry is sometimes the lack of respect you get on the road. A lot of car drivers, it's not saying all, but a lot of car drivers do not understand that you are sometimes 44 ton loaded, and it takes you a lot longer to pull out than it would if you was in a car or empty. So, for example, go to pull away, and by the time you've got halfway onto that roundabout, there'll be a car flying around the roundabout, and you will then slow them down. That car wasn't even in sight when you pulled off, but obviously being a fast vehicle, it gets round and you end up stopping them, and they can get annoyed with that. Now, I think most people with common sense understand that, you know, it takes a long time for a fully freighted lorry to get some motion, but unfortunately there are also just as many idiots that don't understand this, so that can be annoying. Another pro is the pay. I think I spoke about this in the first pros and cons video I done. If you want to go back and have a look at that, just go to my channel and you'll see in there. There's actually a section for all pros and cons videos that I've done. So if you want to have a look, check that out. Yeah, so the pay. The pay is pretty good for the UK in comparison to a lot of jobs. Most jobs where you're earning this sort of money, you would need to acquire some kind of college degree or some higher sort of qualification. A lot of people say it's an unskilled job, which I think is unfair, because just as much as anybody can go and do their test and probably pass their test, being able to put up with the ins and outs of daily life as a HGV driver is another story. What do I mean by that? So when you do your test, they'll take you around, you'll drive about, and you'll do a nice little easy reverse on your test in the yard. There's no stress, nobody around you. When you get out on the road and you're doing reversing for real, and there's people trying to squeeze past you as you're trying to do your manoeuvre because they're so impatient, especially if you're driving in London, it's a whole different ball game. For example, I had a job a few months back where I was in Norwood in South London, and I'm trying to reverse into this Travis Perkins yard, and I had two guys from Travis Perkins come out and stop the traffic, which was perfect, lovely. I'm trying to reverse into this really tight yard. It's a blind side as well, which makes it that little bit harder. As I'm sort of doing my manoeuvre, a police car comes whizzing down the road, therefore making me have to get over, abort my manoeuvre, get over, let them pass, try again. As the police car went past, a car decided that he was going to then follow suit and just fly past the guys that were trying to stop the traffic. Now, it's quite a rare occurrence that someone would be so stupid to do something like that, but that's something you can't be aware of. In the end, I think it took me about 3 shunts. Now, I would say I'm the most experienced driver, but I've definitely got enough experience to know that I can do that within 2 to 3 shunts. It wouldn't be too flustered about it. However, as a new driver, if I was doing that, my first couple of weeks or the first couple of months, it probably would have took me 6, 7, even more maybe shunts to get in there. One, it's on your blind side and it's a tight little road, so you really have to get the dynamic of the road correct. So yeah, that can be another con. But like I say, it always depends on what you're driven by. Excuse the pun. I got into this industry, I'm not going to lie to you, it was purely because seem like a big deal to some people, but I know some people hate having a set time lunch. If you're working in some offices, all that, you have a set time lunch. As a driver, it's down to you to plan your day, plan when you have your breaks, have your lunch. So you can basically, within reason, obviously you're not going to take a break an hour after you started, but within reason, basically have a break whenever you want. As long as you're taking, you know, your allocated amount of break that you're supposed to take a day, it's entirely down to you how you do that. So that's something that's quite nice. You can stop at different places, different services, or if you're out in the country somewhere nice, you can just pull over and lay-by, just a nice chilled break. And if you're tired, you got a bunk behind you. Go to sleep. Also, if you are very tired in general, and you feel like you are going to be a danger on the road, the law states that you must pull over and take a break. That's your bed. So that's definitely a massive pro. There's not many jobs where you can have a break and go to sleep. I know one or two people in different industries that do, that probably shouldn't, but we'll not name them. So yeah, that's something that I thought someone was next to me trying to merge into this lane next to me here, but apparently it's not. It's a further lane, so that's fine. Yeah, so think about it. Is there something you can do in your workplace? Because I know when I used to work in certain sectors, yeah, I was allocated my break, and I was a massive fan of being told when to take my break. Because let's face it, you're not always hungry at the same time of day. Do you know what I mean? You're not always tired at the same point of the day. It varies, especially with this job where your starts can also vary from anywhere between 4 in the morning to 7, 8 in the morning. I actually started quite late today, not from a choice of my own. The job was booked in at 10 o'clock, so I didn't get in until 8. That's a lie, I got at 7:30, but I didn't leave the yard until 8. By the time I'd had coffee, done all my checks, yeah, left at 8. Still got to my job early, got there at 20 to 10, done a little bit of waiting, done a little bit of catching up on my phone with some tests that I'm about to do. So yeah, I mean, there's pros and cons that you can also, if it's in your interest, you know, when you get time where you're waiting around, or you know, you're taking your break, you can do stuff. You can teach yourself a new trade, you can learn a new language, all those sorts of things, whatever interests you. I learned a little bit of Spanish while I was doing this job, but at a previous company. Can I remember any of it now? Probably not. But at the time I was getting pretty good at it. I wish I kept it up really. I can still remember bits of it, but yeah. Anyway, I'm waffling now. So now on to the next thing. Another thing is traffic. Traffic is the bane of every lorry driver's life. Now, people are like, oh, you do such long hours, how do you do such long hours, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes it's not a case of work set is long, it's more a case of you can never predict what's going to happen on the road. Some days everything will go fine, but generally in the UK you can guarantee, especially if you're working around the M25, sure if this is a international problem.